Recording in progress.
Should I start? Oh, are we going to have an echo issue? I don't know. Should we wait for them or start? Is it too annoying? The echo? No? Okay. All right. We will call this meeting to order, the regularly scheduled Desert Water Agency's meeting Board of Directors, July 21st, 2026. And just a matter of housekeeping, everyone's audio for those participating virtually will be muted in order to reduce feedback during this meeting. And please, if you're in the boardroom, turn off or mute any electronic devices. And for discussions and questions, I will call on the directors in the following roll call order. Director Bowman is not here. Director Grasha, Secretary Treasurer Ortega, Vice President McKenna, and then myself. And all votes will be conducted via roll call. And now we will do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I will ask Director Grasha to lead us.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now I will ask Ms. Baca to do a roll call, please.
Okay, Director Bowman, his absence is noted. Director Grasha,
Present.
Secretary Treasurer Ortega,
Present.
Vice President McKenna,
Present.
and President Bloomer.
Present. Okay, it is now time for public comment, and this is the time for members of the public may comment on any item not listed on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the agency, and speakers are requested to keep their comments to no more than 3 minutes, as provided in the Brown Act. The board is prohibited from acting on items not listed on the agenda. And have we received any public comments via email?
No, we have not.
Okay, and let's see if we have any. No public online and no comments in the boardroom. So now we'll move on to public comment on items listed on the agenda. And I will please ask people to keep their comments to no more than 3 minutes as well. And have we received any public comment via email for items listed on the agenda?
No, we have not.
Okay, and seeing none virtually or in the boardroom, we will move on to the consent calendar items. And at this time, I'd like to ask the board members if they have any items they'd like to pull from the consent calendar for further discussion. Seeing none, I'll look for a motion.
I move the recommended action consent calendar as presented.
And I'll second that.
Okay, and we have a first by Director Grasha, a second by Secretary Treasurer Ortega, and then we'll do a roll call vote.
Thank you. Director Bowman's absence is noted. Director Grasha,
Aye.
Secretary Treasurer Ortega,
Aye.
Vice President McKenna,
Aye.
and President Bloomer.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to item number 7, action items. 7A, request board authorization to award contract for constructing the Avenida Caballeros 30-inch pipeline project phase 2. Mr. Mohawk.
Good morning, President Bloomer and members of the board. This morning, I'd like to request board authorization to award contract for constructing the Avenida Caballeros 30-inch pipeline project phase 2. Little background, in the 25-26 capital improvement budget includes capital project 21060 for phase 2 of the replacement pipeline of Avenida Caballeros. This project will install approximately 618 lineal feet of 30-inch ductile iron pipe under the Bristol flood control channel. The project is estimated to be completed within 120 days of commencement. On June 18th, 2026, the agency received 5 bids for the project. You can see those in your attachment 2. Following the bid opening, DWA received a bid protest from Downey Construction concerning the bid submitted by TBU Inc., the parent low bidder. DWA staff has reviewed the protested items listed in the protest letter TBU's bid package, and the project bid documents. Based on that review, DWA staff has determined that TBU's bid contained irregularities and omissions that rendered the bid non-responsive. Accordingly, staff have determined that TBU's bid should be rejected as non-responsive and removed from consideration for award. All bidders have been notified of this intent. Thus, the lowest responsive bidder is Downey Construction with a bid amount of $1,156,156. Downey Construction is considered a capable contractor with a current Class A contractor's license, and their bid is approximately $40,000 lower than the engineer's estimate. Previous action, May 19th, 26, the board authorized the call for bids. Fiscal impact, the capital project has a budget of $3.945 million. After the previous phase of the project, the remaining available budget is just over $1.5 million. And with the contract costs, agency labor, materials, overhead costs, and third-party inspection costs, the estimated total project costs is approximately $1.35 million. Finance Director Slough has reviewed this report. Legal reviewed the bid letter of protest, and additional legal review will be performed at the time of contract execution. This is in alignment with strategic plan, Goal 3 modernization, Initiative 3.1.1, ensure the ability to effectively serve our retail water customers with the agency's distribution system infrastructure. And with that, staff recommends the board award the contract for constructing the Avenida Caballeros 30-inch pipeline project phase 2 to Downey Construction in the amount of $1,156,156. You have 3 attachments there: a location map of the project, the bid summary, and the letter of protest. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Director Grasha, any questions?
For council, have you run this through the fine sifter of potential litigation? I mean, when you toss out a low bidder for whatever reason, we have to be on really solid ground. Is it your opinion we are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We've been in touch with David and Ryan and Esther about it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Secretary Treasurer Ortega.
Just more, excuse me, more for my own knowledge, I guess. So, how common is it for us to receive a letter like that?
I think it's been quite some time since we've seen one. We have received them in the past, but it seems to be when they happen, and not just within the agency, but other agencies as well. More frequently when the bids are really close. Yeah, as you could probably imagine. But I don't have statisticals on that.
So once the bids are received, so in this case, I think you said there were 5 that were received, and then they're available for anybody to look at? Or, I mean, how did Downey obtain the bid and know that there were these, or make mention of these irregularities?
So they're available at the time that the bid is opening. It's a public bid opening. And then staff kind of reviews them and then sends out just the kind of breakdown of the bids. This is the apparent low bidder. But in that process, we're also reviewing to see that they've met all the requirements of the bid. And that's where we found some of the discrepancies. And we simultaneously received the protest from the Downey Construction.
So are you of the opinion then you would have rejected that bid regardless of the letter from Downey?
Yes, we would have done that, but some of those things are debatable. That's why we reached out to council to make sure we were on the right track with that.
And Downey is somebody that we've worked with before?
I believe we worked with them once, but they were part of a different contracting company. They've kind of separated and formed different companies.
And TBU we have experience with in the past? Or?
We have not worked with TBU. Yeah.
Thank you.
May I add to President Boomer, if it's okay?
Yeah.
We're seeing too that some firms are running their bids through AI, and then they are running others' bids through AI, right? So you have AIs talking to each other and saying, well, actually, maybe these folks have messed up in this way, or and so you have just like what we've seen with AI and proliferation of like pro per plaintiffs, like people will file lawsuits in court and it'll run through it, they'll just do it through a software. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just see more of this type of stuff going forward. But obviously, it only comes before the board because there was some non-waivable issues, right? And so that was our advice to staff, was that to reject it and go with the second highest. But anyway, I just wanted to say that AI is going to make this potentially more common, depending on how closely people pay attention. Thanks.
I just want to add, CVWD's been going through this on a couple of bids for months. And they had a similar decision by their staff to, it was in one case it was for water trucks, and they've been hiring all the water truck companies for decades apparently, on an on-call basis. And so finally somebody got enough money to buy enough water trucks to compete for the whole contract. So there wouldn't be, and anyway, it became very, and I want to avoid that by not asking what the problem is, but, and they also had a issue with their security contract, and it's been very tedious to get through those items for literally for a couple of months now. So it can get pretty dicey when you start tossing out bids. So just so we're on solid ground, that's all otherwise I support staff in what they're doing.
Okay. Vice President McKenna?
I'm wondering, after this protest letter came in, did we advise TBU that we had received it and what was in it? Did they make any response?
We did advise them as well. They just acknowledged that they received it. We didn't receive any additional response from them.
Okay, and I don't have any further questions, so I will look for a motion.
I move the staff recommendation.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first by Director Gracia, a second by Secretary Treasurer Ortega, and now we'll do a roll call vote.
Okay, Director Bowman's absence is noted. Director Gracia,
Aye.
Secretary Treasurer Ortega,
Aye.
Vice President McKenna,
Aye.
and President Bloomer.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to item 7B, request update to the Board of Directors Public Events List. General Manager signs.
Thank you, Madam President, and members of the board. As you may recall, over the past couple of months, Director Gracia in previous board meetings has made a few verbal requests to have a couple events added to our listing of compensable events for the board's participation. This was the Palm Springs Firefighters Association annual fish fry, as well as the Harvey Milk Diversity Breakfast. On June 8th, 2026, the Public Affairs and Conservation Committee discussed these two events and their requested addition to the public events listing. And this was also taken to the Executive Committee on July 2nd, 2026 for discussion, and now here, and it was recommended to bring here today to you. So the question on the recommendation that staff has, if the board desires to add these two events to the public listing of events for compensable participation by the board, to approve the request to update the public events list. And with that, happy to answer any questions or open to discussion amongst the board.
Okay, thank you. Director Gracia, any questions or discussion?
It seems to me that the board and all board members should make every attempt to be involved in these public community events like this that are of substantial nature. And is it staff recommending? I don't know. I didn't.
Yes.
Recommending we add them to the list.
If
We
the
approve it.
board desires to participate.
So individual directors could decide, or are we buying a table at the?
This is not to take any action to purchase a table or sponsor or anything of
Okay,
that nature.
just-
This
ju-
is to add
just-
it to the
okay.
list of compensable
All right.
events so that when these events come up, they've just happened in the past few months. And so when they come up again next year, it is available to you, the board, to make
Right.
an individual decision of whether you'd like to participate or not, and it will be compensable.
Yeah, I think we talked about it as whether it would be, we'd be buying a table, whether we could get, I think it's 8 people to a table.
I think that comes up as the event gets
Okay, and then
closer
we'll
and
decide.
evaluated, yeah.
Okay, and so
And
with
if not,
that,
you can register and buy an individual
yeah.
ticket.
right? Okay.
Yes. To clarify, again, yes, this is just to add it to the listing of compensable events. The action of purchasing a table, that is done, and sponsorship of events is done by our Public Affairs Department, along with the Public Affairs and Conservation Director and their recommendation and direction and management.
Okay.
So that's something that we evaluate when we get closer.
All right, good.
Secretary Treasurer Ortega,
I have no comments.
Vice President McKenna.
I'm happy to see the Harvey Milk Diversity Breakfast added to the list, I think.
Yeah.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion is controversial for some reason these days, but fundamentally, it's good business practice. Companies that exercise diversity, equity, and inclusion policies succeed better than those that don't. And I think we should aspire to that as well. Thanks.
My only comment is that we have donated our canned water to the fish fry the past, I think, at least 2 years, if not 3 years. So we have been supporting the fish fry in that way. And with that, I will entertain a motion.
Move the recommended action.
I'll second that.
Okay, a roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Director Bowman's absence is noted. Director Gracia,
Aye.
Secretary Treasurer Ortega,
Aye.
Vice President McKenna,
Aye.
and President Bloomer.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 8, General Manager's Report. General Manager signs.
Thank you, Madam President. The first item here on the General Manager's report is a quarterly update on the Delta Conveyance Project. Well, you are well aware that we provide ongoing updates as significant milestones are reached or different discussions are had at the Delta Conveyance Authority level. And this, I felt, was a nice consolidated view that the DCA has produced and put together, and I thought it was a really great place to see all these things rather than all piecemeal along the way. They've really consolidated in a nice manner to get a snapshot of where the project is, what's been happening over the last quarter. So attached for your convenience is the July 2026 quarterly update that has been produced by the Delta Conveyance Authority Board and in coordination with the DWR. And going forward, I'll be providing these as we receive them to the board to have that nice consolidated view of where the project is and its status. By way of announcements, as the board is well aware, the November 3rd general election is coming up, and we have 3 seats on this board that are up for election, Divisions 1, 2, and 3. And just a note of reminder here, if you haven't done so already, I do know 2 of you have. They're sitting right here. Eligible persons that wishing to file for DWA elective offices may obtain information and file directly with the Registrar of Voters, and there's information there. The due date for that is 5 p.m. on August 7th. For engagement and outreach, I'd like to let you know that Palm Springs City Council will be receiving a presentation from DWA staff upcoming on September 30th. I know this has been mentioned that there has been a desire to do this outreach, and we have worked with staff at the city to facilitate this presentation to the city's council. And this is regarding DWA's turf rebate program, as well as the Making Conservation a California Way of Life regulations and DWA's Ordinance 80. And we will provide additional details and a reminder to the board as the meeting date approaches. Also, a new section that we added here at the last board meeting, we have the upcoming public events conferences. So there's a few items there for your reference that are coming up in the next month and a half. Moving on to our system leaks. Over the past couple weeks, we have experienced approximately 24, well, not approximately 24 leaks. We have experienced 24 leaks, and that's approximately 1.8 leaks per day. So we have now seen, as described in previous board meetings, that we kind of hit the change of seasons, and it's specifically from the cooler months to the warmer months with the expansion of the soils and the materials and everything, we see a lot of leaks, and then it kind of settles in. Now it seems like we're kind of past that phase. We're kind of settled in, and even over the past week since this report was produced, our construction superintendent has indicated that it seems like we are now settled in, and we have decreased the amount of a frequency of leaks. Notably, on Monday, he said since last Wednesday, we only had 2 leaks. So that is positive news that we've made it through that short stretch. Next, highlighting management activities, Human Resources Director Chris Hopping. She is on vacation, but there is a listing of her meetings that she's had, as well as the different efforts she's been spearheading. You'll see in the events, there's a lot of supervisor training. She's been instrumental in making that happen here at the agency for our supervisors in coordination with College at the Desert. Now I'll pass it off to Finance Director Slough for a highlight of his meetings and activities.
Thank you, General Manager Sines. Just wanted to highlight a few of the meetings that have taken place over the course of the last month. On June 30th, I attended the State Water Contractors Audit Statement of Work Review. So this is the audit that's conducted on the State Water Project Statement of Charges. On July 2nd, I also attended the Aqua Finance Committee meeting, and so we just went over the recent financial results for Aqua. And then you can also see that the Tyler EAM implementation sessions have ramped back up, and so been working on those over the last couple of weeks, and we'll be focusing on those over the course of the next couple of months. And then also it's that time of year where we've begun the renewal for our various insurance programs, and so those continue to happen. We have another one that just came in yesterday for our cyber security insurance. Thank you.
Okay, and for a couple highlights of my meeting, so on July 13th, met with Krieger and Stewart regarding our Chino Creek water supply analysis review. As you recall, we, since storms have passed through, when storms pass through at different atmospheric rivers, it creates issues with water quality, and we are on filtration avoidance in there and up in that system. And so we're taking a good look at that along with the TRAM to make sure that we have sustainable water supply that is also of a good quality for them. So we're continuing to work on that. And also in July 15th and 16th up in Sacramento, attending Delta Conveyance and State Water Contractors meetings. And also we've been doing a lot of succession planning here at the agency. I just want to highlight that. And it's not that it's because we understand that we have a wave of retirements that are going to be coming. We want to make sure that we are appropriately planning for that, to make sure that we have staff adequately trained and ready to go when those retirements happen. So there's been a lot of effort on that. So as well as we are going to be ramping up our rate planning here pretty soon, having a couple meetings coming up with regards to that. So with that, that concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Perfect. Director Grasha, any questions?
I don't have a question, but if it's possible, maybe you guys could try to reach Director Bauman, make sure he's aware in case he missed it, because I could see how I could miss that if I was on vacation.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it could just be for.
Okay. Secretary Treasurer Ortega?
I can assure you he's well aware of it.
I
I've been in communication with him, so
Okay, all right.
he's aware. No, I don't have any further comments or questions.
Okay. Vice President McKenna?
I have none. Thank you very much.
And I have none, so we'll move on to item number 9. Directors' reports on meetings and events intended on behalf of the agency that are compensable. Director Grasha.
Here we go. Well, I can say this, it was a busy couple of weeks and very, very very important couple of weeks, too. So on, starting on the 7th, I had the Desert Water Agency Board meeting, and then on the 9th, the Palm Springs Chamber of Commerce event up on the tram, which was, I don't know if there were, how many of us were there? I know you were, but.
I thought you meant in total. There was 250 people in total.
You know, the Chamber of Commerce in the 50s organized the, at their facility, this agency's existence. That's where it began. That's where the community outreach began. You know, it's an important part of this fabric of the community and this agency, it seems to me. And I'm glad we put it on our list of events that, you know, anything you can or want to attend, you can. I don't think, you know, we're abusing that, but we need to remember that the Chamber of Commerce is an important part of this community, and it's good to see that they have such a big turnout for some of these things. But it's one of the things why I've been, you know, talked about. We need to kind of get it across to the public and ourselves that the history of this agency, and it's, you know, it goes back 100 and I don't know, to the 1860s or 1880s. We got pipe here that's breaking that's 90 years old. So, you know, anyway, then on the 14th was the Coachella Valley Water District Board meeting. And then the 15th was the Colorado River Board meeting, which is not compensable, but very interesting. I don't know how much you want to hear about that, but
Probably just a quick snippet.
It's good to see they've been awakened to their to hear two directors refer to issues in terms of their negotiations that I've been trying to get in that zeitgeist. It's there now, and even was brought up at our event at the. So it's good to hear them facing the reality that work is cut out for California going forward, and we'll leave it at that. Then the Desert Valley Business Association, Builders Association had an event that afternoon at the Air Museum, and is that right? The public officials luncheon at Shadow Ridge. And I think and the Aqua event on the 17th, which was out in Temecula. And I must say, Dan Denham, I don't know if you caught what he said during he's the San Diego, the head guy in San Diego. And to hear him publicly acknowledge something I've been, you know, hinting at with people, some people call me crazy, but it's good to hear that somebody else sees it as well. And so I have much greater confidence that, that we'll be adjusting our approach to negotiations a little bit anyway. And also, we need to, I have not heard anybody across the, you know, all of these meetings suggest that we have a conversation about whether or not interstate transfers are good, because they're, in my view, not good for the Coachella Valley. After what the administration did, they're going to line this coast with desal plants. But what they're not saying is that they're going to exchange that water with, the upper basin so that they can continue to build on a water source that's it's running out. I don't know if you can count on the river having the number of good years in a row necessary to fill those reservoirs. I don't think it's going to happen. Anyway, I haven't heard anyone talk about the possibility that that's not a good idea. But Dan Denham seemed to approach that at this thing the other day, so maybe that will come up. And this is as far as it's gotten anywhere, what I just said. Maybe we ought to take a look at that. Huh? You guys should in your little conclave of discussions I know you guys have. So anyway, that's it. I think that's it. Let me look again. And then, yeah, today. So that's it.
Okay, Secretary Treasurer Ortega.
Thank you. So Friday, the 17th of July was the Aqua Region 9 event in Temecula, as it has already been mentioned. We had a great turnout, about 110 attendees from mostly within the region, but also several from San Diego, which is Region 10. So that was a really it was a great event, I thought, and I appreciate the fact that some of our directors were there as well as staff. And then on the 20th, which was yesterday, I completed the current KnowBe4 internet security training, and would have attended the chamber event, but came down with a cold, as you can still hear probably. So unfortunately, I would miss that, and I'm not. I will try to make that next event, which I believe is the Taste of Palm Springs, which will be in September, which I've already signed up for and encourage the rest of us to sign up for, because that's also a great event and where you come into a lot of contact with the public. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Vice President McKenna.
I also attended the Chamber of Commerce mixer at the Tram, a great event. It seemed like more than 250 people. It's always an opportunity for the public to grab you by the collar and ask you a question about water. It only happened once this time, but I'm always appreciative when somebody takes an interest in where their water comes from. I monitored the Mission Springs board meeting yesterday and also last Thursday. Last Thursday, I also attended executive committee here. And I'll comment on Mission Springs. They were in a big spending mood yesterday. They awarded a contract for what is now known as Mission Springs Water District Main Campus. It's a $32 million construction project. They supplemented the architect's fees. They are tied to the construction value, which is slightly odd, but they've also authorized inspection and testing, additional services across the board. So they probably spent $40 million yesterday. It's breathtaking for a ratepayer up there. They also issued, let's call them revenue participation certificates. We would call them bonds. They've issued $28 million in bonds to pay for half or so of that construction value. In spite of that, I think their financial condition is improving. It's better than it was. I want to mention also their board president, Amber Duff, made an impassioned plea for people to pay attention to the quality of water in the aquifer, particularly as regards illegal dumping. Now, I woke up the other morning, maybe 2 weeks ago, to see about 100 tires dumped in the desert within sight of my house in the middle of the night. And over again, I see what is really an outrage of illegal dumping. And I think we perhaps should do a little more to educate the public to the fact that the water they're going to drink tomorrow and next month and next year is currently underneath their feet. And when they take trash out in the desert, or they dump tires or motor oil or old mattresses or appliances, they are contaminating the water that they are going to drink next. And I don't think the public gets it. I think we need to do a little bit more outreach, a little bit more education. We need to express more outrage, to be blunt, when we see this happening. We need to ask every citizen to be a policeman when it comes to what they see happening. I mean, I've photographed people dumping in the desert, and prosecutions have resulted, but that's just me and just one time. If we all did that all the time, maybe we could get a handle on this. But until we change the mindset of the public and we educate them to the fact that they're contaminating their own drinking water, I think we will continue to have a problem like this. So I'll mention that because she mentioned it. I'm going to go to the City Hall Desert Hot Springs Council meeting tonight. I'm going to bring that up again. I think that's something they don't do enough in the way of enforcement. There's a $10,000 fine for dumping trash in the vicinity of Desert Hot Springs. And I know of one prosecution so far. So we need enforcement, we need public awareness, and we need more outrage. So that's it for me.
Okay. I also attended the Palm Springs Chamber of Commerce tram mixer. It was a beautiful, clear day, so we could see all the way down to the spreading basins, and they were full. And then on July 15th, I went to the DVBA luncheon as well, and it was a presentation from Visit Greater Palm Springs, their new economic development director and area, and part of their economic development plan is for affordable utilities. So that fit in for Desert Water Agency. Executive meeting on July 16th, and then also July 17th at the Aqua Region 9 meeting. In addition to the great panels we had, we also got an update from JPIA. They updated on the cyber program has been growing and is now self-funded as of July 1st, 2026. And they're continuing to add more and more, and they're getting more participation for that. There was a few enhancements to the medical insurance and the dental insurance as well. And I think that concludes my events. So we will move on to director comments and requests. Director Grasha.
I have no comments, no requests. I think I got them all in the.
Okay. Secretary Treasurer Ortega.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up on something that has been brought up just a few minutes ago with regard to public outreach. I noticed recently on social media some comments about the amount of water coming through the Whitewater Channel and the amount of misinformation about what that's really about was astonishing to me, perhaps because I've been with this water agency now for 5.5 years and seem to know a thing or two about it. But when I tried to participate in a way that was constructive and let people know that that was actually not runoff from San Bernardino Mountains, but in fact was Colorado River water going to the replenishment ponds, was quite surprised at the reaction to people who basically thought that, you know, I had no idea what I was talking about, even though I happened to be on the Desert Water Board, Agency Water Board. In any case, it was concerning to me that there's so much, such a lack of understanding about what we do, what our friends at the Coachella Valley Water District do, what the rest of the water agencies here in the Coachella Valley do. And I'm not sure what the answer is, but I feel like we're not, perhaps as a group of water agencies, not getting that message out in a way that the public is really accepting of it. I know we do the tours, and I look forward to that again in October. But it seems like we, as an organization, meaning not just Desert Water, but all 6 of the agencies, really need to do a better job of what it is we do for the public good. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President McKenna.
In common with 5,399 other customers, I lost power on Friday, which was a rather hot day. And that was the 3rd time I lost power that day and the 10th time I've lost power this year. So it underlines for me just how fragile I think the Edison grid has become. I think it's teetering on the brink of collapse, actually. And that's an opinion, not a scientific observation. But I get more and more concerned how dependent we are on that grid. And I know we've got thinking going on over there about what we should do about it. May even be too late, but let's work that problem, please. Thanks.
Okay, I do not have any comments or requests, so we will, item number 11, closed session. We will now adjourn into closed session to discuss items 13A and 13B as shown on the agenda, and we'll meet at 10 of 9, 8:50. Thank you. Closed session with no reportable action, so this general meeting is adjourned.